Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. Thank you for being here. I'm going to answer a couple of questions since from the Accessible Yoga Conference in New York City a couple of weeks ago, and I can't believe we're coming up on 2 weeks ago that I was in New York City. So I did my Yoga for All teeny tiny mini training at the Accessible Yoga Conference in New York City. And what I did was I handed out some index cards, and I asked people to ask me questions that we wouldn't get to in our 90-minute session, and then I would come and do a video on them. And this video will be part of our weekly Yoga Staya series, where if you've signed up for the newsletter by going on to dianebondiyoga.com, you can sign up for a free full-length class with me, and every week I send out a tip for those of us practicing in bigger bodies, those of us practicing perhaps with disabilities or stiffer bodies, or those of us new to yoga. I like to offer you some tips and techniques for navigating the practice in the body that you are rocking. Because I don't know if you know this, it might be a well-kept secret, but any body can do yoga. And sometimes we just need a little adjustment or a different variation for our bodies to get into the poses. So this question came to me over email from somebody I met at the conference named Yuki. So Yuki, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if I am not. And your question was people having a difficult time twisting in chair pose. And I'm going to be honest with you, the twist in chair pose is often very uncomfortable for me as well. But I'm going to show you what I've learned practicing in this abundant body for over 20 years. So I've learned a few things. So first of all, chair twists can be difficult because one of the cues for prayer twist is to bring the legs together. You can sit back as though you are just leaning back onto a bar stool. Take your fingertips to the floor just to measure how deep the bend is in your knee. And then from here, keeping the legs straight, or keeping the legs where they are, I should say, you can come into a chair pose. Now, I have sore, tight shoulders, so often when I'm here for too long, my shoulders start to communicate with me and say, this isn't working. So then I bring my hands to my thighs, or my hands to prayer pose. But what's difficult for me is, first of all, getting my legs together, because I have a lot of abundance in my thighs, so they don't necessarily squeeze together really tightly. And my second issue is abundance in the center of my body that maybe keeps me from being able to hook my elbow behind my knee. So do you see how far it comes? It actually comes to the front of my knee. So a couple ways that I deal with this is, one way is just bring the elbow to the front of my knee and take the twist, which is still a twist, right, from the upper body. That's one option I do, okay? My second option is to lift the abundance of my belly and move it into the direction of the twist. So I lift the skin of my belly, pull it to the direction of the twist, and that helps me get my elbow behind my knees, squeezing my knees together. The other option is, if I can't get my thighs together, because I have abundance in my thighs, I take my feet out wider, place my hands on my knees, stick my butt out a little bit, and then take, in this case, my right hand, place it on the outside of or my left hand, place it on the outside of my right knee, and take my right hand to my waist or reach back behind me. And that becomes the twist for me, because sometimes legs together are uncomfortable if there's abundance here. The twist might not be possible if you have abundance in the center of your body. But what I find most people are able to do is to be able to take the hand to the outer part of the thigh and then reach back. Another option is to sit in chair and just twist from beneath the rib cage. So that's some ways I work through chair twist. Your second question was, if you're doing or teaching yoga in a gym setting, and some people are asking you for a specific pose. So I believe the specific pose you said was headstand, and not everybody's interested in getting into headstand. How do you teach a class when some people want to do headstand and other people may not at all be interested? So here's my thoughts on this. When I teach a class that's multi-level, right? We have a lot of different abilities in the class. We have a lot of people working with different challenges or limitations in the class, what I like to do is probably just past the midway point. Like if I'm teaching a 75-minute class, maybe at 40 or 45 minutes, I offer what I call yogi playtime, which is a concept I got from a teacher of mine named Nancy McCochran, who's the creator of Yoga at the Wall. So she would offer us yogi playtime, and people would often, if we were playing at the wall, hop up into handstand. Some people would practice headstand, and other people would practice something entirely different. So what I do is I set aside maybe 10 minutes and I say, we're gonna play a little bit. And I offer different people different options. So if people wanna work on getting into headstand, what I would do first are the people who are not interested in getting into headstand, I would offer them some kind of restorative pose, or say to them, is there a pose that you want to kind of hang out in or work on? So often I would offer them some hip openers, perhaps a legs up the wall option if they're, if you're going to be working with inversions, but offer them something else to do and get them set up first, and then come over to your people who are interested in working on whatever the pose is, headstand, arm balances, and whatever, and then work for them. But what I make sure I do is I set a timer on my phone for 10 minutes so that I don't get carried away with the people who are working on their headstand or whatever the poses that they're working on, and then I end up leaving my other students in a pose for far too long, which is why I try to pick something restorative or hip opening where a lot of time in those poses are beneficial. So I hope that answers your question. To put it out there into the universe, if you ever have any questions for me on yoga, please send them to me, because I love to make these little tutorial videos, and they'll be part of my weekly series that goes out every week answering your questions, and you can sign up for that email on dianebondiyoga.com. Okay, thanks for being here, and I'll